afternoon. Thank you. My name is Bert Bruce. I'm the Vice President of Commercial Development for Rare Disease at Pfizer. And on behalf of Pfizer, we're pleased to sponsor and welcome you this afternoon to the Lonzy Lee Symposium on Connecting Sickle Cell Disease Awareness and Education to the World. This was an exciting program last year. It's going to be an exciting program this year. So in bringing you welcome and greetings, I'd like to take just a moment to introduce to you your host for the session, who is over to my right and wearing a very impressive piece of jewelry, Patrice Hamilton. Having been diagnosed with sickle cell disease at birth, Patrice Hamilton has overcome many challenges in her life in which neither she nor her parents had full knowledge of her condition or how to manage it. She nearly succumbed to the complications of sickle cell disease at the age of 16, at which point her diagnosis was reconfirmed. For several years, Patrice hid her diagnosis from former employers, dance teams, pageants, and other organizations she had been involved in, concerned that her abilities would be viewed as limited or that she was over-exaggerating her condition. Patrice is a graduate of the State University of New York at New Paltz, where my sister-in-law is from, class of 2009, where she earned her BA in psychology. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Phi Agonian sorority, and during her active years, she held various positions, including community service chair. She continues to devote her time and her effort toward many causes today, including sickle cell disease. As Miss New York State, United States 2014, Patrice will travel throughout the Empire State, dedicating her philanthropic efforts toward her platform, sickle cell disease awareness and education. During her reign, Patrice will not only advocate for her personal platform, she will also be advocating for the National Relay for Life campaign and the American Cancer Society, as well as other charitable causes. Now, Patrice has represented New York State at the Miss United States pageant in Washington, D.C. this past July. And among her many accomplishments, she notes her greatest accomplishment to be the birth of her son, Dylan, in November of 2012. Patrice aspires to be the best mother that she can possibly be, and today she will host our symposium. So please join me in welcoming Patrice Hamilton.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Bert. I felt it was necessary to stand. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. And I would like to introduce our wonderful, distinguished panelists for this afternoon. Let me start off first with my new dear friend, Keir Jr. Spates. Funny man Keir Jr. Spates is one of the funniest people on the planet. As a member of the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Jr. uses his platform, both on the radio and through his comedy, to raise awareness about sickle cell disease. He serves as the national ambassador for the SCDAA. Welcome, Keir. Thank you for being here.
These are all true statements, just want y'all to know.
I personally think I'm the funniest person on the planet, but
You're second to me, though.
we'll let you have that for now. Next, I would like to introduce our panelist, Dr. Levita Wallace-Page. She is a former television host for an international evangelical talk show franchise. She is a minister of music, a motivational speaker, playwright, and sickle cell blogger. Together with her husband, she creates through their company sickle cell-centric content, such as music, plays, and documentaries as a part of their sickle cell advocacy. She was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia at 3 weeks of age. Welcome, Levita. It's nice to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Reverend Dr. Violet L.D. Lee. She now serves, I'm sorry, my greatest accomplishment is crying right now. I apologize. Please forgive me for interrupting your introduction. Reverend Dr. Violet L.D. Lee now serves as the Executive Director of the Sister Fund, a private foundation in New York City, a renowned religious leader that she has been recognized nationally as a top emerging leader. Dr. Lee has participated in and led grant reviews for the National Institutes of Health and National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. She has served as a panelist for the SCDAA conference on consultative meetings and screenings for sickle cell treatment programs, including hydroxyurea. She is also living with sickle cell. Welcome, Dr. Lee. Last but not least, I would like to introduce our panelist, Jordan Dunn. She is an international supermodel and is taking the world by storm. Not only is she a successful model, businesswoman, and megastar, but she is more importantly one of the sickle cell disease community's biggest advocates. Jordan is now serving as the SCDAA's National Parent Ambassador. Thank you for being here, Jordan. Now that you've met all of our panelists, we would like to review some questions that we have for our panelists today in regard to their sickle cell advocacy and their support. First, I would like to ask Keir, if you could tell us a bit more about what you do and how you got involved with the sickle cell cause.
As far as what I do professionally?
Professionally, personally,
You know,
however you got
professionally, because
involved.
professionally, I'm ignorant. That's what I would do professionally. But really, no. What I do is, I'm on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. It's a great show. We have a lot of fun on there. Some of y'all familiar with the show? Y'all familiar with it? Yeah, that's it. It was really crazy because the way I got involved with SCDAA was like, because I had nobody really to talk to about sickle cell with. And my business partner, Vance Bradford, he went out and found this organization and told them that we were interested. And then we got to know them, and I liked what they were doing. And I said, you know what, I think I can help with the platform that I have. But before then, I never had anybody talk about sickle cell with. It was funny, like, you'd be over at the breast cancer walks and at the lupus walks and all this type of stuff. And then I finally found a home where I belong. And it's nothing against the other organizations, but this is just where you belong, and it fit because everybody understood your story. And that's what I love about the SCDAA. They allow everybody to tell their story. So.
Yes, don't you feel in a sense that being here at this national conference, like you're amongst family?
Oh, absolutely. I don't care. I look forward to the people I met last year, then the people you come back to see this year. And it's good to see that we're still waving the same banner. We all have this sickle cell disease banner that we have to wave, and it's good to see your family still holding the fight up, and that's what I come back to see.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And I guess I'll go down the line. Levita, if you wouldn't mind sharing, telling us a bit more about what you do and how you got involved with sickle cell disease, well, the cause of sickle cell disease.
Well, the cause of sickle cell disease has always been important to me because, I'm affected. I was born with sickle cell anemia. My brother was born with sickle cell anemia. My sister had the trait, and obviously so did my parents. And so in order for us to live a quality life, we had to know what was going on. And to have some knowledge and to see others suffer and not say anything or not, say, well, this is, it's like a mommy's club. Just like if you see your baby has gas and my baby has gas, we'll put the babies on the bed together and we'll roll their legs, something like that,
Which
so
may have happened.
That happens. So with sickle cell, it's the same thing. You see others who are experiencing what you have experienced, and you just kind of reach out to each other. So that's how I became involved. It is a part of my life. But what I do as an advocate is arts for advocacy. I've written a stage play titled Crisis and Courage, and it talks about my experiences as autobiographical. This is what I experienced as a would-be mother. This is what I experienced as a sister. My brother died at 28 because of complications of sickle cell disease. This is what I have experienced as a woman, you know, and so that's what I do. And because I've been writing poetry since I was 12. I happened to marry a filmmaker and a producer. I happened to be an actress and a singer. We just decided, well, let's make it our story. We're going to talk about it our way. And so it became a stage play. And so that's how we got into this particular type of advocacy for sickle cell.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Dr. Lee, if you would share with us how you had come to be involved.
I think because I live with sickle cell disease, as has been echoed by the other panelists before me, you're compelled to do something that helps not only to tell your story, but to educate others. And I feel like as the sickle cell conversation continues to ebb and flow, we continue to want to give a consistent message that we're still here, there's still information that is needed, and we are the catalyst for some type of change. And so my advocacy has been, as you've introduced, through grants, grant reviews, screenings, consultative meetings, in different ways trying to help achieve for a larger audience, if you will, something that might seem monumental. Say that rural town, like the town where I grew up in the South, there are disparate services available, and someone needs to be there to help give voice to the concerns for those who live with sickle cell disease. Someone in a clinic helping the little children understand that they still have value and that life is important. And so I think that one way for me has been a cause for my advocacy, but also any way that I'm invited to participate and be involved at a larger level, I've not turned down an opportunity. But also having had the privilege of serving on a pastoral staff for nearly 20 years, I've had a chance to preach about it, or it's woven into a message, or teach about it. I've had a chance to, of course, make the appeal for blood drives and why it's so important. And to say once after an exchange transfusion that there were 11 to 12 people or so who helped save my life. This is why I'm back here today. This is why I can stand here and preach and deliver a message of hope to someone else. So again, it's the life story. It's my story, and that compels me to be involved. So again, any way that I'm invited to, I can't say that I'll walk. I don't necessarily do the walk, but some of you will understand. I don't necessarily say that I will walk. I'm not averse to the walk happening, but personally, just not having the energy to do that. I think we all have some way to give, though, whether it's by family member or the patient, him or herself, doing something. And that's where I feel I'm just available. So whenever I'm asked whatever the job is, I try to make sure that I can make it happen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. And if you could just share with us, Jordan.
So basically, my son is a sickle cell sufferer, and I was doing a lot of interviews about, you know, being a parent of a sickle cell sufferer. And I mean, a lot of people in the fashion industry, not just in the fashion industry, but a lot of people don't know about the disease at all. So when I was talking about it, they were looking at me with like a blank face. They didn't understand it. They didn't get it. So CSDAA reached out to my agent, and I was just really happy to just lend my voice and help bring awareness to the disease. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. And I'll share with the audience how I've come to become involved is that, as you have heard during the introductions, we all on this panel, including Jordan's son, we have sickle cell. And so when I competed for the Miss New York United States pageant, I competed with the intent of winning on behalf of those who have sickle cell. My purpose of competing in this pageant was solely so that I could use sickle cell disease and awareness and education as my platform to educate others, spread awareness, travel across the state and in other states, including Baltimore, Maryland, so that I was able to be a voice for other people who have sickle cell, because it's certainly not easy being a public figure, for one, and it's also not easy to be carrying a detrimental disease that really takes a huge toll on your life. And so my mission was to win that title so that I could be a voice for the sickle cell community. And I can't express to you how happy I am to be here and be amongst such prestigious individuals, not just the people up here on the stage, but the audience members as well, and anybody who may be watching. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents in there too. Thank you. So, what Jordan was saying about how people in the fashion industry, or commonly it's known that people are not too familiar with sickle cell, and I'm sure there's a variety of reasons, but I want to actually ask my fellow panelists, why do you believe that sickle cell receives less attention in the public eye than other diseases such as cancer or ALS? And if we could start with you, Dr. Lee?
I think it unfortunately hinges on the race issue. And because it's prevalent among African Americans, people of African descent, heavily populating the Latino community, I think we are unfortunately still not viewed on the same level in terms of the attention that it warrants. It is still very detrimental for a lot of people, very debilitating and disabling, and why after so many generations of people have lived with sickle cell that we don't have the same platform in media and beyond. But I think that's our call, and our response to it is to say, again, we are still here. This is still very important. We continue to not only live and strive for a higher quality of life, we are thriving, we are flourishing, and it will not limit us, even if we're not at the same level, if you will, as a cancer awareness. I think we continue to make major strides when we have, say, on a morning show with national syndication, a comedian who's bringing attention to it. And I remember when it caught my ear in the morning to hear that here's someone on the radio that's speaking my story, speaking to me. So we need to use every channel that we have. In the fashion industry, when you have, again, the blank stares coming at you, we get that in our own communities. Unfortunately, I've been in the black church for a long time, since birth even, and there's still a lot of uneducated and uneducated people and people who are unaware. I'm very privileged and happy when I get an invitation to speak, especially in my own community, because we have to continue to spread awareness within our own circles so that we can then continue to shepherd that, make that message go wider and broader beyond, again, the limited scope of our own circles. But we have to be the catalyst for change. We have to be the change agents. And it is unfortunate that we don't get the same attention or the same funding or the same of whatever it is. However, we have to continue to sound the alarm.
Dr. Page, do you have anything to add to that?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree, Dr. Lee, that it has to do with, racism. There is a discrimination element. It's very heavy, and I believe that it's primary. But also, we as a community have been used to pushing it to the background. We have been not so vocal about it. And just as Jordan was saying, as she was saying, we have to have people in certain areas, as you were saying, you have to have a platform to speak from. If you had a senator whose daughter was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia or whose son had passed from it, then maybe he'd be in a position to spread his voice wider and louder. So we have to be no justice, no peace, not in the sense of that we want to be militant, but we want to remain active. We have to be the ones to advocate for awareness. So yes, it's wonderful to have those voices in high places, but on every level we have to not just speak about it, but we have to speak continually about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. Would you have anything to add to that as well, Kier?
No, I agree with the ladies have said. But here's the other thing too. I think that really we need to do as people in the sickle cell community is we got to tell our story. See, in other avenues, we as a group, as many of us, have to get out and tell our story. When I go to a city and I'm doing a show in that city and I got to go do a television interview, I don't do the interview unless they ask me about sickle cell. If they don't ask me about sickle cell, I'm not doing the interview. See, so on Fox that morning, you know, we may talk about the show, but in the end, they're going to say, what is the thing you're most passionate about? And that's sickle cell. And see, so it's not a compromise. It's not a, okay, well, we may ask you. Either you do or we're not doing the interview. That's it. And that's telling your story. See, I'm not being upset about it. I'm not being rude about it. I'm not being disrespectful. But I need you to do this because you got to, if I'm helping you, you got to help me. And that's the thing I think we don't do enough of amongst us. We got to get out and wave and tell our own stories. And I guarantee you, if enough people start talking about one thing, somebody going to look over. I just want to understand. That's how I do it.
Pretty much what all of you were saying as far as like how even within our own community, there doesn't seem to be much emphasis placed on spreading awareness and education of sickle cell. And I can say, as somebody with sickle cell, if you have... I lost my mic. Thank you, Kier. Sorry about that. But as somebody who has sickle cell, for a long time, I actually was hiding my condition from just about everyone that was not in my inner circle because I didn't want people to look at me as though I was limited and that I didn't have certain abilities. I also did not want people to see what actually happens when I'm experiencing a sickle cell crisis. I have been told throughout the entire day how pretty I am. When I am in a crisis, I am not pretty at all. We laugh about it, but most seriously, and I mean physically and personality-wise, if I'm in a crisis and you are not helping me the way I need to be helped, I might say some things that you really don't want to hear come out of someone's mouth. Because when you're in so much pain and you're just looking for that comfort and you're looking for any way to subside the pain, whether it be through certain physical techniques that you have, whether it be through medication. Also, I have found, and if my fellow sicklers might even be able to back me up on this, I've experienced where I was accused of being addicted to pain medications and to drugs because when you're in the middle of a crisis, you might have the appearance of someone who is, having withdrawals from, it's very similar as far as some of the symptoms you exhibit when you're having a crisis. And it's very scary. So, I don't want to overstep and make anybody feel uncomfortable by talking about it, but that's just it. We choose not to talk about it because it makes people uncomfortable.
Patrice, I'd like to add, though, I just have to say, I often find some, dis-ease with the term sickler. And I just have to say that I know a lot of people identify with it, but I don't embrace that. I've had medical personnel attending to me while in crisis in the hospital. And even in my pain and high on whatever drugs I'm trying to get that pain under control with, I will excuse them from my room. I've had them send patients from other rooms who identify with a particular support group at one time, other, quote, sicklers, to come into my room. And I banned them from my room. I am not embracing that language and that label. I don't think that we all do or that we have to. I don't know how it came about from the medical community that we would be identified as sicklers, but I don't personally embrace that nomenclature. I will not ever embrace the fact that I'm a sickler. I'm a person who lives with sickle cell disease. I have sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease does not have me.
Yes, amen. And you know what? I appreciate you saying that, and I will let you know that's actually the first time I used that term because it's commonly used. So I made the mistake and the assumption that that was what was used amongst
I
our
never
panelists.
use it. I never use it. I'm vehemently
Please don't ban me
opposed to
from the
that.
stage.
You is out the community.
I give you grace.
No,
I give you grace. But I think we have the right to we have the right to define for ourselves. This is our own effort toward our own self-determination to give language to our experience. And I don't appreciate the fact that it's always imposed. And again, I don't necessarily have to reject it so strongly. But I think if we continue to give voice to our own experiences, we have to be authentic in our own voices. My voice, my experience, my livelihood does not rest on the title of being a sickler. I don't identify as such. I don't want a prospective employer to see me as such. I don't want a congregant to value or view me from the sickler lens. I think, unfortunately for me, it registers in a very uncomfortable way the limitations that are, again, often attached to living with sickle cell disease. And we have to reclaim our own agency and our power.
Exactly.
So sickle cell disease, unfortunately, has been a lifelong journey and will continue to journey with me forward in life. But again, it does not have me. I live with sickle cell disease. I have it, and I'm okay with that.
And you know what? I have a, if I may say, I have a monologue that deals with that. It deals with how I go in the hospital, and I need to understand why people need to know when I'm going, when I've gotten there, when I left. And my issue with sickle cell anemia comes up at funerals and grocery stores, and it's not that I want to hide it, but I always felt like there was a certain construct that I build for myself, and I want to be able to sculpt my own image in society. And I am not who I appear to be when I'm under the symptoms of sickle cell. Because when I'm released from the symptoms, I am so much more than I was in that moment, and I'd like for you to see the whole person. So I definitely understand that. And when you go in the hospital, you're seen as very, as you say, when you're in crisis, it's bad. I don't have time. I need this now. We can't talk about this like this now. This is not your first encounter with a sickle cell patient. You know I need medicine. Let's do this. So you get that way, but by the same token, you're in so much pain, sometimes it's hard to communicate literally.
You have to have an
physically.
advocate.
Yeah.
You have to have a spokesperson when you go to the hospital.
Right.
Because they do not treat us with the value and respect that I think we deserve as patients seeking treatment. And let's look at the ethics of medical care. You know, when we look at how we are often mistreated and evaluated with hostility even in some medical circles, and when we are trying to get care in that time of great pain and crisis, you need an advocate. I've learned, I thank God, that finally at the tender young age of 40, I got married. So that when I go into the hospital, I have an advocate. My husband's speaking for me and demanding certain things that I can't articulate. I may not even be aware and cognizant always of my own behavior because, as you've said, we are concerned with the pain. And that crisis at that moment has overtaken, I think, all of our sensibilities sometimes to think rationally.
Yes.
Because you are in such great pain and people don't understand that. And that kind of debilitating pain, unfortunately, has a negative connotation also. So I don't know why we have still the continual conversations around how we present to medical professionals at that time. We need an advocate.
You have something to say.
No, yeah, well, I think that, you know, because I'll be having the same thing, you know, I like, what kills me the most about some stuff we do to ourselves, some damages we do to ourselves is, you know, you go on Facebook and you see someone in the hospital with a sickle cell crisis because images are powerful. Images have lasting effects. And I just, my heart goes out when I see people in the sickle cell crisis and they take a selfie. That kills me. Why are we doing this? Because that's not the goal. That's going in reverse. See, if you're gonna be in, when I was in the sickle, my last sickle cell crisis was in July. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. Not that I didn't want them to know. The people who needed to know knew. You know, my job knew, because I can't lose that. But the point is, hey, I come about the hospital, go back to work. But the point is, the images that we put out to the world, they come back. See, there's a cause and effect. We're showing that, you know, that I'm down, I'm depressed. These are things that we need to stop doing, get a opposite field. Start putting up images of what you want to be doing when you get out the hospital. Start putting up places that you want to go, people you want to see. See, that's what I did. I put up people, places, things that I want to go do. Because whatever the mind sees is what the body does.
Yes.
See, if you just laying here in a sickle cell crisis, all you can think about, I'm depressed, how long do you think you'll be in the crisis? So let's change that about ourselves amongst us, and then we can get the world to come in and say, you know what, I want to. The reason why breast cancer is so successful, do you hear the words they use? Survivor.
Yes.
Empowered.
That's right.
Those are the same terms we are allowed to adopt. They don't own the word. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm sickle cell empowered.
Yes. Sickle cell survivor.
Now, but you did initially, I think your initial question was about, have we been treated as addicts? Do you remember that?
No, I said, yes, I didn't know necessarily if you had shared that same experience where if you had met with a medical professional that was not versed with sickle
So,
cell, and perhaps the
absolutely.
response was negative because since they don't have the education with...
And even those who are educated sometimes will say, you know what, this is too much medicine. You shouldn't require this much at this point in your stay. Your pain should be more managed by now. And sometimes it's just not. And doctors have the ability, and even nurses have the ability, to make little notations in the chart that follow you through your life that say this person is a drug seeker. Well, I feel like you should be called to the carpet on that. Let's defend that statement. Because when I'm in the hospital, I require quite a bit of pain medicine, and I'm looking for it. And I'm demanding that it's here when it's supposed to be here. Don't tell me you've got to go mop the floor over there. I need medicine. But at the same time, when I leave the hospital, I may not take anything for pain but Tylenol PM.
Right.
So if I go into the hospital again and I'm denied pain medication because it's in my chart that I'm a drug seeker, then I have a problem with that, and you're interfering with the care that I could be receiving. And so I think there should be some kind of mediation process to say, well, if you put this in my chart, let's have some kind of hearing. You have to explain it. Take a sample of my hair. In 6 months, how many drugs have I done? You know, maybe a week's worth
There's
while I was here.
3 quick things I just wanted to touch upon based on what the other panelists had to say, and then we can move on to the other questions. But like what you were saying here, how you'll go straight to work right after leaving the hospital.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of times what I believe is giving reason for why sickle cell is not necessarily looked at as serious as other causes such as breast cancer and what have you, is because you get that, well, you were just fine yesterday. What do you mean you're sick now? Or if you did go right back to work, because I'm the same way. I'm better now. It's time to keep pushing forward. I'm the type that I had actually shared with some members in the audience. Sometimes I don't have time to have a crisis right now. I have things to do. And you have to put yourself in that mindset, like you said.
Absolutely.
What you're thinking, what you see is what your body will see. It may not always work, but I'm going to try my best. And another thing is that what you were saying, Dr. Page, as far as having medical professionals look at your chart, look at your history. There is, and I want it to be known while we are live on the web, there is a sickle cell app. If you have a smartphone, download it. It is the Voice Crisis Alert app, okay? This way, you are able to make your friends and your family and your medical team or a medical professional your first interacting with know that you are experiencing a crisis, know the level of pain, know the quality of care that you require. So I just wanted to make that known. I could not let this show end without, this symposium end without saying that. Moving right along. So we do hear all the time that getting people to rally around your cause, as far as spreading education and awareness, that's how we get people to understand what the sickle cell cause is. But thinking outside of the box, does anybody know of, or if you are already doing so, any innovative ideas of making this happen with spreading awareness and education? And Jordan, may I start with you?
I just want to apologize because just hearing you guys' story, it's kind of, I didn't want to cry because I don't have sickle cell, my son does, so I will never know how it feels for him, so sorry. So I was just like hearing your guys' story and how you guys suffer just kind of hit home for me because of my son, and I'm still like learning about everything, so I'm just really happy, grateful that I'm here, and yeah, sorry, so I just need to have a minute.
Okay. And I didn't realize till becoming a mother just how hard it is for a parent to watch their child deal with having sickle cell. I'm fortunate that my son does not. I'm the one that has to bear that sickle cell burden, but I never took the time to really become more aware of what my own mother was going through and what other mothers and fathers are going through watching their children deal with sickle cell. So I really commend you because it does take a lot of strength on your part to be there for your son. A lot of strength. So, Kier, if you can tell us, thinking outside of the box, innovative ways of which we can spread education and awareness.
You know, it's funny. About 3 days ago, my mother called me, and she was like, "Hey, I have an idea for you all in the sickle cell." She said, "If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine." That's how she talked to me, you know. 'Cause that's how she wants you to like it, you know. You don't like it, you don't like it. That's all right, you know. So she was at a soul food restaurant in Houston, and she said the lady in front of her had paid for her food. So then she in turn paid for the lady food behind her. Then she in turn paid for the man's food that was behind her. And so the man didn't have anybody left behind him. So the man said, "What do I do?" And the lady said, "Give that money to the charity that you are most passionate about." Now I thought about something, you know. I told Mama I ain't like it, you know, because that's what you got to do when you about to steal something. I don't like that. I don't like, hey, I got a good idea. So what I thought about was a pay it forward program. And what I'll do is he's just like, you'll call somebody up and say, "Listen, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm just using this as an example. It doesn't matter if it's somebody's school books, if it's somebody's house note, if it's somebody's insurance, if it's somebody's tires, just things. You call them up and say, "Listen, like I'm going to call my mom up. I'm going to say, "Listen, I'm going to pay your mortgage this month." And she'll be like, "Okay, well, take that mortgage money and you give it to sickle cell." See, you start doing something. See, people pretty much going to feel compelled to help you. Because I didn't help you out. We just need the funds. Is that not the goal? We just need the funds. But if I help you with, I don't care if it's something as, let me just buy your school books, or I'm buying your lunch. You know, great things don't start off massive, they start small. And we can build to that. So I thought about it, and if anybody has any ideas to help me tweak that, feel free. But I just like the concept. And the simple thing like that, like, wow, that's really outside the box. That's something that we haven't done, we haven't thought about doing. You calling people up and say, listen, and then guess what they'll do? They'll call somebody up, pay something for somebody else. Now you're getting two donations off of just one great act. And that's something I think we possibly can use to raise money for sickle cell.
Thank you. I would certainly be in full support of that pay it forward initiative.
It's a pay it forward. You know, I mean, it's, you know, and a lot of people think we got to do all these massive, great things to raise awareness and all this type of stuff. You know, starting up just like a conversation like we're doing now in your neighborhood, in your community. Simple things like this draws people interest. But the thing is, you got to be consistent. When you start it, you got to follow it all the way through. That's the thing. We'll go good for 2 months. But then by December, we thinking about Christmas. And so that's the thing. We got to start, and we got to just stay consistent. And when you start something, that's all we have to do.
Thank you, Kier.
You're welcome.
Dr. Page, if you will.
My husband and I have put together a campaign called Keep It 100 campaign. And it is a series of print ad images. So you may have, the concept would be, you would have a person with sickle cell anemia struggling, and then you have a support system beside the person with sickle cell. And they're doing something great, like one concept that we had to come in, because we have them coming from all over the country. But one concept from a photographer was a stage dive. You have your sickle cell patient diving out into the audience, and the support system is catching them. And the caption is, "Help me keep it 100," or "I want to keep it 100." And that means 100% understood. I want to be 100% supported. Support my lifestyle, which is what you were saying. You know, my child needs books, but I've been in the hospital and I can't work, or my child is in the hospital and I can't work. Help support my lifestyle. I want to be fully understood, fully supported, and so help me keep it 100. So this is a series of PSAs that we have going on right now, and it's still in development, but we'll release it very soon. I think that's really important for awareness as well. But just as your mom, my mom said to me one day, "Levita, why don't we have some jewelry, particularly rings, just like if you had a purity, ceremony. You give your child a ring, and this says, I want you to be conscious. I want you to be aware of what this ring symbolizes." And for us, it would be, remember the generations. Stay away from people. I know love, it just happens. But you have to be so aware that if I am with someone who has the trait or the disease, I'm sending that to my children. And so when my son has the trait, when he's a certain age, I'll give him a ring. It will be black titanium with red calligraphy writing that says, "Remember the generations." And prayerfully, he'll pass it on to his children. And just small things like that, ideas that just say, listen, this is important enough for us to make it a priority in our own lives.
That's a beautiful idea. Beautiful. And Dr. Lee, thinking outside of the box, what can you think of as far as innovative ways of raising awareness and education?
Innovative ways. I really think that children and mothers sell any type of product or messaging, at least in this country. I'm not sure how I would package that, however, for children, because I would not want to exploit children. But when you look at a child who's ill, no matter what it is, if it's for a children's hospital event, if it's for Feed the Children, children who are hungry in other parts of the world, anything about children who are in any way challenged, medically or otherwise, someone wants to respond. When I look at advertising in this country, women help to sell any and everything, not just because it's sexy, but if you're a mother who can speak to the challenges of having a child. I remember my mother not always knowing necessarily what to do when I was in crisis, and being that middle child of 3 trying to figure out how am I going to manage with the other 2 just to get the help this one needs. I just think somehow we have to capitalize on those images and what it is that we need to put forward, like the sickle cell stamp when it came out with the mother and child. Not that fathers aren't an important part of this, but in terms of the messaging, I don't know what it is that we need to do. I'm challenged to think outside of the box. I think, unfortunately, because we haven't done enough and we've done great work in terms of destigmatizing sickle cell disease, until we can work against that social stigma that's out there, the fact that we live with a disease that's consistent with blood issues, people don't really understand what that means. I don't know what we need to do, and I'm struggling here, and I'm grasping because I think if we could find a way to successfully get the messaging out through the stories of the hundreds of children just trying to live a high-quality life, and to see that what we can deposit in them could help bring about the attention, the awareness, and the financial support that we might be successful. And again, what mothers can do to help further the cause of children, when mothers are strapped to find the resources and the help and the attention that their child will need. I don't know. I'm struggling. So I'll yield my time to Jordan.
Well, me and my team in New York, we basically designed this necklace, which I'm wearing right now, and the campaign for it is called Sell for Gratitude, and then we launched it in New York during New York Fashion Week, and it's basically, this represents a sale, and we're hoping to have it in stores, so when you purchase this necklace, a sickle cell patient is thankful and grateful for your support, and also a reminder of your good health. So we're going to be hopefully placing that in stores soon. And I mean, I just want to use my platform. So I am a spokesmodel for Maybelline. So I was thinking maybe doing a shade of lipstick, and the funds go towards the sickle cell, things like that. And also blood drives, because I know that's really, really important. The fact that when my son first had his crisis, the fact that somebody went out the time to go and give blood, that is now in my son's body, that now he's healthy. I feel like we need to spread the word that doing that helps a lot. So,
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank
there
you.
are two things that you just said that I was so glad to hear just now. One of them being
Makeup.
that
You can say makeup.
yes. I mean, not just because I'm a pageant girl. I mean, love me some makeup, but no. Some of you may or may not be aware of a new campaign that had recently started, which is known as the Bold Lips for Sickle Cell Challenge. And so with that being said, if there was any way at all possible that Maybelline would partner with SCDAA so that people would go about taking that challenge. For those of you that may not know what it is, basically it is taking a selfie and just like Dr. Page is modeling, putting on a bold lip color, whether it be red or burgundy, because burgundy is the color for sickle cell, or just a real color, a color that pops, that makes your lips stand out. And by doing so, by putting on a real bright or outrageous color, then this way you're also hashtagging Bold Lips for Sickle Cell, and asking people, challenging them to donate to the SCDAA or to their local sickle cell chapter. And it's another way of spreading awareness and education. I know I took my selfie. I took it twice. So I would...
What?
Yeah. You going to take the challenge?
I'm sorry?
Do
I want some what?
Will you take the Bold Lips
Oh, no,
Sickle Cell challenge?
this is over then.
The sickle cell community needs prominent members such as yourself to
Put on lipstick?
Yes.
We're sending the wrong message. We're sending the wrong message. We're sending the wrong message. No, what I can't do is get on camera and tell y'all to go donate. No. Put the lipstick on it.
What the men do is, I will kiss you with my bold lips.
Now with your husband on that camera, I won't kiss you, but someone will kiss you. You don't have to leave.
No, what it is, there is small loophole for anybody, not just men, but anybody that may not be comfortable with actually wearing lip color, and that is to have a lovely lady, or not lovely, it doesn't really matter what the lady looks like. I told you I'm the funniest person on the planet. To give you a kiss on the cheek or the forehead, and so you.
Oh, okay.
That whole
I'm
lip
good
color,
with that, yeah.
And then you take your selfie.
Y'all are talking about puckering up, rubbing your lips together, and snap. No, we're not going to do that.
But you have that option. That option is still open
I'm
to
good
you.
with that. That's fine.
So yes, I mean, take the challenge. And I've even said to people, even if you decide that you're not going to be able to donate, just even spreading the message and passing it along, getting people talking, because that's what we need to do. So that's what I appreciate you saying, and also as far as hosting blood drives as well. It takes, I'm going to throw in a real quick sickle cell fact for some of y'all. It takes 10 to 15 people to donate blood to save the life of one person with sickle cell. 10 to 15. So imagine now how hard it is just to find 10 to 15 people that even know and understand what sickle cell is. So just something to think about.
I have personally had over 216 units of blood in the last 10, 15 years.
And you, that's a lot of blood. So I'll go on to our next question.
I think I gotta, yeah, because otherwise Sonja over there is gonna come get me. Because the audience wants some time to participate, I feel.
Okay.
Is that true?
Okay, well then.
Well, maybe they don't. I said the audience wants some time to participate. Is that true? Okay, so maybe we'll do it. We'll work in the audience participation, but let's begin by giving the panel, who's not done yet, already a round of applause. How many people came here to learn something today? Raise one hand. Okay. How many people, no, I didn't say put it down. It's not Simon Says. How many people have learned something today? Raise the other hand. Okay, with those 10 fingers, those will represent 10 people, and we already learned the power of what 10 people can do. So we have some work to do. This panel has told the truth and the whole truth. And sometimes those are two different things. There was a couple of points of inflection in the conversation. You guys remember when they were, right? And I appreciate the panelists putting them out there for us to be able to hear and react to, because not only did everyone on the panel lean forward, everyone leaned forward to kind of understand what do we need to do to achieve this goal, to connect sickle cell disease awareness and education to the world. If you have a question, please come to the microphone, announce who you are, make your question clear, and make your question short.
My name is Wanda Witten-Sherney, and I'm from the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America Michigan chapter, and we had our first walk that had 1,200 people, and it was a myth-dispelling walk. And what I want to say to you is that I'm most struck by this idea of being accused of being drug-seeking, because my mentor, Dr. Donald Rucknagel, taught me that the #1 cause of drug-seeking behavior is pain, and the #2 cause is fear of pain. And our walk was a myth-dispelling walk, and my question for you is, could I offer you one of our T-shirts, one that says, "My pain is real," one that says, "Living well with sickle cell," and one that says, "I'm still here living with sickle cell," to dispel the myth that everybody dies by the time they're 21. So I'd like to offer you all three as a gift from the SCDAA Michigan chapter.
Thank you.
Wanda, you say which three get the shirts? Is it three? Oh, everybody get the shirt. It's 3 shirts. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, good. You had sat down, you said 3, I said, hold on, 1. You started getting 2 of us ain't gonna get no shirts. Thank you, Wanda.
Hi, I'm Corey Davis from New York. This is my first time here, so I don't actually have a question, but I want to say thank you all for, your information, just sharing your stories with us. I want to just say thank you to the panel, one. And second, something that hit me very, hit me hard. It hit home because when I was younger, I used to, I just broke my chain. When I was younger, I used to hide, having sickle cell with amongst my friends and counterparts as well, because a lot of people look at you differently, and a lot of people, they, like you said, try to restrict your abilities. And I didn't want a lot of people to do that. I knew what sickle cell was. I knew a lot of things, how to deal with sickle cell, but I just didn't want that to restrict what I had. A lot of doctors said, oh, you're not going to be able to live, a certain lifestyle, and you're not going to be able to play sports. I did everything. I went to college. I'm working. Did all of that, So I think I just want to reiterate for the young ones out here that you can do all of the things everybody else does. You just have to, persevere and be able to have faith in yourself as well, also with the blessing of God as well.
Junior, do you have something to comment,
See,
Junior?
man, that was me, man.
Yeah.
I was that same guy, dude. They told me I wasn't gonna be able to play sports. They told me I wasn't gonna be able to do it. And the crazy part about it is they yanked me off my football team my senior year. It's my scholarship year. I've been starting at running back for that high school since I was in the 9th grade. I ran the second and last leg on the 4x1 on my track team. See, I really love that story. See, that's the story we got to tell right there. See, my mama had to go to bat for me. We shut the school system down and left. If he ain't playing by next week, they're not playing. And there's something to say. That's the stories that I'm talking about. But you got to get out there and you got to tell that story, because we got to understand we are examples for kids, because we still making babies now.
That's right.
Hey, babies still getting made now. Sickle cell, no sickle cell, babies coming now. We got to be examples for ones that are coming up behind us. Whether you're the mother you're a mother of a child with sickle cell, whether you're the father of a child, whether you are the brother of somebody who has sickle cell, whether you are the person with sickle cell, those stories still got to get told, man. That may feel, I'm glad I'm just not by myself with that, man. You keep doing your thing, dog.
No problem.
Thank you.
And one more thing, I just want to
Hold on, because it got ruled.
the bowl lips.
Quit.
The bowl lips.
Quit.
We're gonna have to simmer that down as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, but we ain't puckering up. We'll talk about something. Yeah, we got something. We'll come up with something. All right.
Next question, please.
Hi, I'm Linda Armstead, and I am a patient with sickle cell. But unlike a lot of people with sickle cell, when I'm in a crisis, I just kind of shut down. I don't do, a lot of the pain, and I don't go to the ER unless I'm in pain. And when I go to the ER and I'm not exhibiting the normal sickle cell reactions, the first thing the doctors always want to do is have a psychiatrist look at me, because they think I'm making it all up. And that's another side of the awareness that doctors need to be schooled in. I don't like to fuss, but you have to kind of get the doctor straight on, I'm not making this up. This is real. Look at my blood work, and you'll know that, my hematocrit is 18. I'm in pain. I need pain medicine, and I need some blood, or I need oxygen, or whatever. So don't just act like, because I'm not screaming and hollering, that I don't have sickle cell. I do.
Before the panel comments, how many people can relate to that story? I saw someone encourage me, because I see these people come here to understand, right? That story is Jesus as telling your story. Your story is not just your story. It's other people's stories as well. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have a comment?
And I have one question from my mom. She wants to know if, Junior, have you put that Pay It Forward program on your radio program yet?
No, we just talked about this yesterday. My mother called with this yesterday.
It's a great idea.
But it was a great idea. I know it was a great idea, but I got to steal it first.
Patrice, do you have a comment?
I think that's something we got to hash that out.
We'll get
I
to
don't know
it.
how to do that. We got to hash that out.
I learned something new about sickle cell almost every single day, and I had, after I had done some research, learned that not every crisis is painful. And that's actually very scary sometimes, just because you usually would have the pain to allow you to know what's going on with your body. And I experienced, while in the hospital receiving treatment, that I felt fine, I felt better, I felt like I was going home soon. And I was on the phone with my best friend, telling her how I was jealous because she was having a sleepover and I wasn't there. And this is when I was 16, not last week, y'all. And the nurse came in and she said she was going to give me some more fluids before it was time for me to go. And I'm all excited that I'm about to go. And I thought I was going home. No, I was being airflown to another hospital to see some specialists because my condition had become worse. I was having a good time chatting on the phone with my girlfriends, and then to find out that I was going to have to go to another hospital to see a team of specialists to save my life, that was by far to this day still the scariest experience I've had. So I thank you for saying that, because I didn't realize at the time that you don't have to necessarily be in pain to experience a crisis. Hi.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Gibson. I'm President and CEO of Martin Center Sickle Cell Initiative in Indianapolis, Indiana. We've been in business helping people with sickle cell for nearly 45 years. Thank you to all of you on the panel for what you're doing and what you will do. Thank you to everybody in the room for being here. I'm here just because I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention that I've been involved with sickle cell for over 30 years. I'm a widower of a woman that I lived with for nearly 12 years before she passed away from sickle cell at the age of 36. Wow. This was many years ago. However, one of the things that isn't discussed very much that I think is a part of the problem that we have is that there is a certain amount of apathy that still exists. And I'm curious as to what the panelists think we can do to try to overcome that level of apathy. And I know that there's a number of reasons for it, but I'm curious as to what other people think. But as a case in point, I haven't even heard it mentioned yet today, I just checked a few minutes ago the petition to the White House looking for 100,000 signatures. A few minutes ago, there were 15,340 signatures out of the 100,000 that are needed. This has been going on now since September 22nd. People have been sharing it on social media. I know it because I've seen it. We have a very active social media presence with Martin Center Sickle Cell Initiative. So 15,340 signatures means that we need about 4,550 signatures every day before October 22nd to hit the 100,000. And before I wrap up, let me suggest that it was Frederick Douglass who said, "Power concedes nothing without demand." One of the things that's been wrong is that the demand hasn't been there. This White House petition, I think a lot of people don't truly understand, it is a demand. And I think that we need to ensure that we get those 100,000 signatures. And I thought that, being here in this room with these people, with it being on the web, with the webcam, anybody that has anything to do with sickle cell far outnumbers 100,000. Far outnumbers 100,000 here in the United States. So I just want to see what you guys think about what we can do about apathy. And also, what can we do to get that 100,000 signatures to make President Obama say, wait a minute, I do have to do something about this. Thank you very much.
Can you give that website? Can you give the website where people can go and sign up for that? Because we have our cell phones.
We can
do
go
that now.
to the SCDAA site. And Sonia, you
I
can
can
help.
tell you
Sanjay,
the
you can help
exact
with
web address is www.tiny, as in TINY, URL.com/priority SCD.
All right, so we'll get that on the webcast. Those of you on the webcast, start now.
Absolutely.
Let's turn it over to the panel for a couple of comments around the question that was posed.
I would like to comment on
Yeah,
that. What can
please
we do
do.
about apathy?
Yep.
Crisis and Courage, the theatrical stage play, I've said this many times, there's not a lot of levity in sickle cell. It's not comedic. I mean, some people can make it, but that's not been my experience, and I'm just not a natural-born comedian. So when I talk about sickle cell, I talk about the trauma of it. I talk about the suffering of it. And everyone, you don't have to experience sickle cell. You don't have to know a person with sickle cell or understand the pain. You see us curl and jerk and my eyes roll and I'm heaving and hyperventilating. And to you, it's just physical exercise, I suppose. Well, not you, but to people. But what we can do is, as long as you can understand that I'm suffering, then you can empathize with me. And so that's what Crisis Encourage is about. It's about showing people the suffering through the fourth wall. You know, be a fly on the wall in my days of having to, you know, bring my baby's ashes home. And now I have another child in ICU and I'm saying no more dead baby's bones. We have to bring the emotional level of it up, I believe.
Junior, you look like you, I didn't know if you look like you had something to say.
How do I?
No, if you had a response.
Oh,
You look like you might.
The thing I do is, you know, I don't want the pity party. I don't. You know, for me, sickle cell has always been the thing that has always taken something from me. So when you take something from me, I've always treated it as it was the enemy. I give it no power. It has none for me. That's why I'm always upbeat. That's why I always have the attitude, because my attitude determines my altitude. I don't have time to be sitting down pity party, because there's somebody trying to watch us to see how we're going to live. What is your best foot forward on your worst day? What does that look like? And that's on sickle cell, because even when I'm in a sickle cell crisis, I don't plan on being here more than 4 or 5 days. I ain't trying to stay here.
That's right.
My job is to get out here, and we got to start living like that. You got to start living like, I've got to be out here. I've got things I have to do. But all this, oh, woe is me, I don't do that. And I don't empathize for myself or nobody else when we have sickle cell. We all have an intestinal fortitude that is built inside of us that other people don't have. Some things that just might kill other people don't kill us. I don't really care if my light bill don't get paid. If I'm in a sickle cell crisis, really ain't the most top priority thing on my list. So that's how I feel about it, man. That's the only
But
thing.
let me respond to that. Telling our stories is not for us. We know our stories.
Right.
Telling our stories are for those who don't know the stories. And if I could not see a bald head and say, I understand this person is dealing with this issue of cancer, then I could never say, gosh, I would like to donate to that. So if we don't bring a face to the cause, if we don't bring a perspective, if we don't, I believe in God, I believe in divine healing, but where is that person? And how can that person benefit from what I have experienced? What I go through is my testimony, and I have to say it so that others can understand what we need in this community.
I'll make one quick observation and we'll get to, and give them a round of applause. You didn't ask for my answer to the question, but here it is as we get ready. It's being authentic and it being important. Each member of this panel has been authentic. Some are authentic and funny, some are authentic and not. But what is connected with each of you is what they're saying is authentic. As you go through your filter of how do I go from somebody who I know to somebody who I don't know and the messages that I hear and what do I do with them, each person has connected with you from that framework. Now, that's the first level. The next one is it important? And Junior's already answered the question. Importance, we have many things that are important, and then they become less important over time. It's what stays at the top of our priority list and what we pursue. And the combination of authenticity and persistence is what starts to create change. Question?
It's not really a question, it's more like a comment. And actually, you just spoke about it. My name is Terry Booker. I'm from Philadelphia. I have SC. And I feel like, and this is what I was trying to say, I think, earlier today, is that sickle cell is not looked at as a real thing that really happens to people. And I think when you do take a selfie of yourself in the hospital saying, look, I'm in pain. Yeah, yesterday I was fine. I was chilling. But now today, I'm not. And it's important for people to see that, because it puts a face, as you said, it puts a face to sickle cell disease. Yes, this is real, this happens, and it affects every aspect of my life, every aspect. So I think it's important for you not to necessarily feel as if when someone says, oh, well, let me take an interest in the sickle cell disease because I just saw a picture of my friend in the hospital, and now I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you had sickle cell. What's going on? What's happening? And now they want to know more instead of me feeling as if they're going to make me feel like it's a pity party. I think it's important for us to get out there and tell people and show people what we go through so they'll know, and we can get more funding, more recognition, medical and everything. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Todd Savitt. I'm a historian of medicine. I spoke earlier today. And Dr. Lee, you asked about, this is a historical point, about the use of the word sickler, with this whole discussion about that word. And in the research that I've done, it actually was used very early in the 1920s when the first articles were written about sickle cell. One physician just casually used the word sickler in an article. My guess is that that wasn't the first time that that word was used back in the mid-20s, that it goes back. The question would be, who started it? Was it something that physicians started to call their patients, or did patients? It probably is that physicians using shorthand started saying sickler. And so it became a slang that stuck. And so it's been going on since almost the beginning of knowledge about sickle cell.
I think that's unfortunate. I appreciate the history on it. However, again, I don't think every person who lives with sickle cell disease appreciates being called a sickle.
No, I'm not justifying it all.
Right, and I appreciate the history on that. I really do, because I never wanted to look that up. I've been so averse to it, and I think that's why. You saw my strong reaction. So I do appreciate the history on that, and that, again, is a caution to medical professionals, to doctors, to not, again, impose language upon us that we don't identify with. And I think living with sickle cell, again, continues to remind me that not only being a trained social worker, but that I have a right to self-determine and self-identify. And sickler doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
All right, we've got.
Thank you.
Todd, thank you very much for that. I think it's a great reminder that the origin and the utility sometimes become disconnected. I thought it was a great dialogue earlier that says sometimes it's better to come up with something new than try to change something old. We have time for one more question.
This is actually a question and a piggybacking comment. My name is Don Jermaine Gibson from Charlotte, North Carolina. There is no SCDAA chapter there, but I have helped found an organization called SCAN. I was born with sickle cell disease in Georgetown, South Carolina, and was quickly transferred to Washington, D.C. at Howard. Was not expected to live past the age of 5, and this month I'll celebrate my 35th birthday. I also am a college graduate with a Bachelor of Arts in Advertising, Public Relations, and a minor in French. I want to comment on, one, what Junior was talking about as far as the pictures and selfies showing people in the hospital with sickle cell. One thing I feel that is not talked about enough are the socioeconomic disparities regarding sickle cell. And one thing I found with having this illness and going to college and being able to experience, most times people's experience does not surpass their circumstance. And a lot of the people I know in Charlotte, which I can go ahead and admit, the healthcare there is very shaky. A lot of the doctors are predominantly Caucasian, treating for a large population of African American citizens that have sickle cell disease. Most times their knowledge doesn't extend beyond what they learned in medical school. And they feel pretty much stuck. They've been in the same cycle since they aged out of the pediatric system and into the adult system.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to lose the webcast, but we're going to keep talking. But I need to say this because of the comment we heard earlier. For those of us looking on the webcast, if you go to sicklecelldisease.org, there's a link for the White House petition directly on the website. So let's start to spread the word around that quickly. I don't know when we lose the webcast, so hopefully that gets out. Share the webcast. Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
And one of the things I'm striving to do with this organization is pretty much get individuals, mainly youth, going into adulthood with sickle cell experience. Most of them have not been out of Charlotte, have no education beyond high school, have not had the opportunity to experience things that I have. And I know a large part of dealing with this illness is knowing that you do have a life outside of this illness. Most of them have not left Charlotte, and I can say I've been to the majority of the states in this country, but one of my goals is to leave the country. And so I am having issues with starting an organization that garners funds to help individuals with sickle cell do things that they've never thought they can do. One of my goals is to go
I need you to get to the
skydiving.
question. Can we get to the question?
Yeah. My question is, where can I go? What resources are there to help me do those sorts of things?
I believe we're at the event for the resource. huh?
Say for starters, you're here.
SCDAA. This where you make all that happen. You got till what, tomorrow? Is it over tomorrow? Sunday night? Or Sunday? Saturday night? To make all of that you're talking about. That's what these people here. We family. We here to help.
You made your first step by coming here
Yeah,
to this
that's
national
what you do.
conference.
Okay.
And I think your second step is when we close, come stand up at the front of the room, and those of you who've heard what he asked and have answers, come find him. That's what we do as a
Excellent.
family in the community.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right. I think we have to shut it down. So
There's
we will.
one thing about people in sickle cell, we have tenacity.
I understand that. That's actually why I was given the job.
But I would
Back
stop her if I was you. I think she's
at the
serious about her
NMQ.
question.
I do understand that. So here's what's going to happen, because I know this is going to happen. The young lady at the microphone is going to ask her question, because there is nothing on God's creation that's going to stop her from doing that. However, those of you who do need to leave to get to the next place you need to be, very quietly, before she starts speaking, start to move so that you don't get mad at me. And then the panel is going to stay here, and then I'll only be in a little bit of trouble. Here we go.
Okay, first thing I want to ask is, how many of you in here are nurses? So I want to encourage you to join the International Association of Sickle Cell Nurses, first of all. Many of the people that we service don't even know that exists, but there is an association that Coretta Jennerette is the president of, and I'm actually the vice president. My name is Pat Corley, and I'm from Los Angeles. I want to thank the panel. I got here a little bit late, but I enjoyed what I heard. And I also want to thank the National, because we're going to be able to use what you're telling us to teach other folks who don't know about sickle cell disease. But I want to encourage you and every other person in here with sickle cell disease or a family member to share sickle cell with everybody, because what I find all the time is people say, oh, is sickle cell still around? And it's because people don't say. I mean, we had people like Miles Davis with sickle cell disease, who no one knew had sickle cell disease. So it's imperative. I went to school with people who, until I became the sickle cell nurse, I did not know they had sickle cell disease. I just felt like they were kids that didn't want to come to school. So in these times, it's imperative that we make sure that there's an awareness of sickle cell disease out there, because a closed mouth does not get fed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, hold on. All right. Y'all don't go anywhere. We're just going to make a few closing remarks so we can wrap up the portion that's going to be taped. Obviously, there's a lot of energy that's in the room. There's a lot of passion that's in the room. I'm a marketer by profession. I'm a lot of other things that I'm not talking about today, and each one of you are too. Junior encouraged us earlier to take that component for which this disease, whether it personally touches you or you know someone who it touches, and move it up your priority list and keep it there. We're proud to have sponsored this time. We look forward to being a partner. Let's take the words of this panel, increase the importance, and maintain the persistence. Thank you very much.
All right, everyone, was it good? Did you enjoy it? One more round of applause for our panel.
They were wonderful, wonderful. Before you leave out, Mary Lamar has a request, and it's a very important one, and so that's why I didn't want any movement. So if at some point, anybody that's moving around, if you could kind of stop for a minute.
And we are pausing right now because we're going to take time to remember. We're going to remember Dorothy Carroll Moore. Dr. Dorothy Carroll Moore was the first African-American immunopathologist in the state of New Jersey. She's also a former chief medical officer of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. She passed on September 22nd, 2014. And as we think about the mission we're here for, raising awareness, raising funds, raising education, this woman did that and more. So we are going to pause right now and remember Dr. Dorothy Carroll Moore. Take a moment of silence, please. We remember.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this session.